Hello MotoGP enthusiasts. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Silverstone may have delivered more than just a Jorge Martín victory. According to veteran MotoGP manager Carlo Pernat, the British Grand Prix revealed a changing balance of power between Aprilia and Ducati. Pernat believes Marco Bezzecchi made a crucial mental breakthrough. Aprilia now has the strongest collective package, and Marc Márquez's Ducati was simply not working as it should. His assessment paints a championship increasingly shaped by one central battle, Márquez against an increasingly powerful Aprilia operation. Aprilia may currently control the top 3 positions in the MotoGP championship, but CEO Massimo Rivola is refusing to celebrate too early. With hundreds of points still available and Ducati expected to respond with new development, the Italian manufacturer knows its advantage can disappear quickly. Jorge Martín leads Marco Bezzecchi by 31 points, with Ai Ogura another 6 behind, while reigning champion Marc Márquez sits 4th. For Rivola, the message is simple: ignore the standings, keep working, and prepare for Ducati's response. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Pernat believes Marco Bezzecchi's Silverstone performance could become a turning point in the championship. The Italian rider secured 3rd behind Jorge Martín and Ai Ogura, but Pernat argues the result matters beyond the points. He sees Bezzecchi developing the mental strength required to become a genuine title contender. This Grand Prix was crucial, especially for Bezzecchi's mental state. Pernat may not describe Bezzecchi as a phenomenon, but he clearly sees something more important: a rider strong enough to fight for a world championship. Silverstone's Aprilia dominance was not viewed by Pernat as a one-off. Martín won the sprint, Ogura finished 2nd and Bezzecchi completed the podium, showing the strength of the entire Aprilia structure. It's a bike that performs well everywhere and for everyone. That versatility could be Aprilia's biggest weapon. Unlike a machine that works only for one particular riding style, the ZNGP appears capable of delivering performance across its entire rider lineup. Pernat's strongest criticism was aimed at Ducati's setup for Marc Márquez. The 7-time MotoGP champion struggled badly in the Silverstone sprint, eventually scoring just 1 point after a dramatic rear grip collapse. The setup was the worst of all the Ducatis. Pernat was careful not to blame Márquez personally. His argument is that the result cannot simply be explained by the rider's performance. If one of the best riders on the grid is struggling this badly, something fundamental with the package may have been wrong. Pernat acknowledged that Márquez altered his approach during the race, apparently trying to preserve the situation rather than take unnecessary risks. But he doesn't believe that explains everything. He also pointed to the contrast with Alex Márquez, whose Ducati appeared to turn more effectively at Silverstone. It's not that Márquez is the worst rider, I'd say he's the best. So something just didn't work. That distinction is crucial. Pernat's argument isn't that Marc suddenly lost speed, it's that Ducati failed to give him the tools to show it. Pernat also believes Márquez has changed as a rider because of the injuries accumulated throughout his career. The Spaniard once accepted enormous risks and was capable of crashing dozens of times in a season. Today, the consequences of another major injury are much greater. He's no longer keen to crash like he used to. That's not necessarily a weakness. Márquez now understands that one huge crash could potentially end his career. Experience has replaced some of the risk-taking instinct, and Pernat believes that is simply part of his evolution. Pernat was equally critical of MotoGP's demanding calendar. He believes the combination of Grand Prix, sprint races and constant travel is pushing riders, mechanics and engineers beyond reasonable limits. It looks like a quarantine station. Injuries and surgeries have become increasingly common, and Pernat fears that exhaustion isn't only a health problem, it can also create mistakes that compromise safety. With tire problems also appearing during the Silverstone weekend, Pernat rejected suggestions of favoritism from Michelin. He accepts that a tire can occasionally perform poorly, but insists there is no deliberate attempt to help one manufacturer over another. "I've never seen any favoritism. Different motorcycles exploit the same tire in different ways." According to Pernat, Aprilia simply found a way to extract more from the package at Silverstone. Pernat's championship prediction is perhaps his most striking conclusion. He believes Ducati's advantage from previous seasons has disappeared and that Márquez could increasingly find himself carrying the manufacturer's title hopes against a much deeper Aprilia challenge. "This is Aprilia against Márquez and Márquez against all of Aprilia." Aprilia can collect points through multiple competitive riders. Ducati, meanwhile, may need Márquez to consistently deliver if it wants to keep the championship within reach. Pernat believes Ducati's current difficulties are linked to development after the dominance of its 2024 machine. He argues that the previous generation was the real benchmark and that the manufacturer now has important decisions to make. "The real bike was the 2024 model." With Márquez currently Ducati's strongest championship hope, Pernat believes it makes sense for the manufacturer to listen closely to what its leading rider needs, although building around one rider does not guarantee every solution will suit everyone. Silverstone left Carlo Pernat convinced that MotoGP's balance of power is changing. Bezzecchi appears mentally ready to fight for the championship. Aprilia has developed a motorcycle capable of working with multiple riders, and Ducati still has technical questions to answer. For Marc Márquez, the situation is particularly fascinating. Pernat still considers him the benchmark rider, but believes the Ducati must improve if he is to fight an entire Aprilia operation. The message from Silverstone is clear: this championship may no longer be Ducati's to lose. It could now be Aprilia versus Márquez. Silverstone transformed Aprilia's championship situation. Martín remains on top. Bezzecchi is second and Ogura third, giving the Noali manufacturer an extraordinary presence at the front of the standings. Yet Rivola believes the current table means very little with so much racing still to come. With 370 points still up for grabs, it's better not to look at the standings. 3 Aprilia riders at the top may look comfortable, but the championship is far from secure. Rivola's strategy is to avoid getting distracted by the points battle and concentrate on the next technical challenge. Aragon is particularly interesting because history gives Marc Márquez a major advantage there, making it an immediate test of Aprilia's progress. "It's better to focus on our daily work and what the next race, Aragon, holds, where history tells us that Márquez is the dominator." Aprilia has the championship advantage, but Aragon could quickly show whether that advantage is genuine or circuit-dependent. Despite Marc Márquez's difficult Silverstone weekend, Rivola isn't underestimating Ducati. Alex Márquez demonstrated that the GP26 still has the pace to fight at the front, while Marc remains the benchmark rider in Rivola's eyes. The Silverstone result may have exposed weaknesses, but it certainly hasn't eliminated Ducati from the championship equation. "I don't think they want to let this championship slip away." With the 850 cubic centimeters era and Pirelli tire switch approaching, manufacturers are already preparing for 2027. But Rivola expects Ducati to continue investing heavily in the current championship rather than simply looking toward next season. "We've brought some new parts here, I expect Ducati will bring more." Ducati's historical dominance means Rivola expects a serious technical response. Aprilia cannot assume its current advantage will remain untouched. Rivola refuses to narrow Aprilia's championship hopes to Martín alone. Bezzecchi is only 31 points behind, Ogura remains within striking distance, and Silverstone winner Raúl Fernández is 56 points from the lead. That depth could become Aprilia's biggest advantage as the season develops. All 4 of our riders are definitely on the list. A single rider can win a championship, but 4 competitive machines can collectively put enormous pressure on one manufacturer. Even with Márquez down to 4th in the standings, Rivola refuses to write off the reigning champion. His history at Aragon and his record of recovering from difficult situations make him the rider Aprilia continues to watch most closely. He's definitely the benchmark for us, history teaches us that. Rivola's respect for Márquez is clear. Aprilia may lead the championship today, but the Spaniard's experience means Ducati cannot be counted out. Rivola sees something bigger than a fight between individual riders. Aprilia and Ducati are two Italian manufacturers competing for the most important prize in motorcycle racing, with multiple riders capable of winning races. It's wonderful, in the sense that there are two Italian brands fighting for the World Championship until the last race with many riders. For Aprilia, the opportunity is historic. The manufacturer has achieved major success in the smaller Grand Prix classes and World SBK, but the Premier Class crown has remained out of reach. Aprilia may have the strongest position in the championship, but Massimo Rivola knows the real battle is only beginning. Martín leads, Bezzecchi and Ogura are close behind, and Fernandez has suddenly entered the conversation after his Silverstone victory. Yet lurking behind them is Marc Márquez and a Ducati team that has dominated MotoGP for years. With hundreds of points still available and new technical developments coming, Rivola's warning is clear: Aprilia cannot afford to look at the standings. Ducati will fight until the very end. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!